All right, we just got out of fuck.
All right, we just got out of the theater and watched Avengers Infinity War. Starring Josh Brolin.
James Brolin.
Yeah, Josh Brolin.
Which one is it?
Daddy Brolin. James Brolin. Star of...
Which one do you know? Think of the one you know.
Star of Lost City Raiders.
I don't know.
There's one that's Josh Brolin, and there's one that was the star of Lost City Raiders.
We are waiting.
Going into it, so I didn't care about the movie at all. Ever since it got announced and ever since that first trailer came out, like I didn't care.
There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
I was just like, oh well, it's probably gonna be bad. It could be good, but it's probably gonna be bad. And I didn't care at all until this morning when I knew we were gonna watch it. And then I don't know, it caught me in a good mood, and I was like, maybe this movie could be good. You know what? Black Panther was like putrid garbage, and everyone loves it, and it makes me miserable.
Watch everyone hate this one.
No, everyone loves it too.
Here's the thing, like, yeah, everyone does love it, and like so when I heard that everyone loved it, I thought I was gonna hate it because like so far with Avengers movies, so everyone loves the first one. Everyone thinks it's a masterpiece, and everyone thinks the first Avengers is great. And I think it's god awful. I think it's trash. And most like Marvel people who love all the Marvel movies, they think Age of Ultron's not very good. They're like, that movie's kind of shitty. And I was like, really? I think Age of Ultron's sweet. Like I think Age of Ultron's way better than the first one. So I so far I haven't lined up with it. So I was like, oh, everyone likes Infinity War, and I'm probably gonna think it's a big old pile of poopy. But this morning I was like, you know what, maybe it could be good.
So Sam Slade, what did you think going into Avengers Infinity War?
Now there's a bunch of pressure on me. I kind of have a similar thing where like I wasn't really thinking about it like all year at all because it was like, okay, that's happening. Like it's this big monumental thing, and like in my head, it's like the ending of a TV show where it's like they're almost never good because it's just like there's so much leading up into it and you can't really pay off everything. This movie didn't really have to pay off anything because it's a part one, basically. Like, they're not saying it's part one, but it is definitely a part one.
Oh, yeah. It's clearly a part one.
But yeah, like, this morning I was like, you know, I want to try, I want to give this movie a chance. I want to like it. Like, I want this to be something I can like.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So going into it, I was like, let's watch it. Let's see some trash. Let's enjoy it. I just hope it's not boring.
So, if you've ever watched any one of our reviews, you know that I go into every single one of the movies that I see in theaters wanting to hate it. And this one was a little different. I did want to hate it like a week ago. Like, I'd only seen the first trailer and I was like, that looks like AIDS.
Especially all the hype around it. It's just like, what is gonna happen in Avengers?
Yeah, well, and I've talked about when it comes to almost any Marvel or superhero movie in general, I just think superheroes are kind of dumb. That's just, you know, I've always been like that since I was a kid, and so they've never been really interesting to me.
Blade.
Well, Blade's not a superhero. He's a
messiah.
Alec literally has like the soul of an old man. Like as a child, he was like, superheroes are lame.
I did.
I'd rather look up to a tax attorney.
And so I've thought specifically the Avengers movies were all kind of just lame. Like they have so much hype around them. It's like what all the other movies are building up towards, and they always end up being kind of disappointing. But then today, you know, I went in, I walked up to the theater, and as I was walking up, I was like, you know what? I want to change it all around. I want this movie to be good. I'm in a good mood. I want to not be bored in the theater, so I'm just going to be hopeful.
That was my biggest hope, was that it wouldn't be boring.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, the Avengers movies, they're whatever, but like they're not boring.
We're committing to 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
it better not be.
Yeah, if it's 2.5 hours, I don't want to be
like Black Panther.
Yes.
Black Panther feels like 4 hours longer.
when I first started, like the first like 20 minutes, I was still super skeptical. Like it had like pretty shitty dialogue. Like so the first 20 minutes of this movie has like some of the most like traditional like comic booky dialogue in all these Marvel movies, where like they're talking like it's like, oh, we have to, fucking Thanos is coming, like he's gonna kick our ass, like he's gonna kill everybody, like we gotta assemble a bunch of people, like we gotta do something, and like it's super like,
especially from Mark Ruffalo
and Doctor Strange too.
Well,
Doctor Strange is saying a lot of,
but
like,
it was weird coming from Mark Ruffalo specifically because he's just a regular guy when he's not Hulk.
Yeah.
Like, at least Doctor Strange is this weird wizard guy.
So
I like that they called him a wizard, like as a derogatory term.
after that first little initial hump, like things start revving up and getting better and better.
There's a very specific moment for me that I think signifies that.
But overall, I walked out of the theater and I felt really good about it. By the time I was in the parking lot, I was like, that movie was sweet. Like that was a radical movie. And like we said, like we all three of us going into it, like I want to like it. I know this movie's gonna be trash. Like
We've just been burned so many times.
We've been burned so many times that now it's like this movie is going to be trash. Like there's no way this movie isn't trash, but I hope it's the right kind of trash. And it is good. It is good.
It is that good trash.
It's good trash, dude. There's very little artistic value to be found in this movie. So that movie's awesome.
So Sam Slade, what did you think of Avengers: Infinity War?
It's
Volume 1.
Yeah, I would just pretty much agree with Brian. Like, you know, I was pretty surprised. Like, it was a little choppy at the beginning, but it was interesting seeing like can we spoil anything? Like the first scene.
I would say so.
The first scene, somebody dies, and it's like, okay, so there is stakes. Like, people can die, which was cool. Tony Stark showed up, and like they did that first fight with the wizard people, and he was making fun of them being wizards and stuff. And then from then on, like I was like, okay, what next character? Like it was so many different storylines that like I was able to enjoy differently. For the most part, I was able to enjoy all the different storylines. So I'd say overall, it's pretty sweet.
The beginning, I was very worried. Kevin rightly predicted exactly what would happen in the first scene, and they kill off a character, and I found myself completely emotionally detached. I was like, I like this character, usually, I just don't feel anything right now. The scene was not...
I kind of just expected it.
Yeah, the scene was not handled extremely well, but then, so it has all this setup, there's all this boring dialogue, and the moment where I was like, oh, fuck, I'm into this movie now, is so they're all talking, they're like, oh shit, Thanos is coming, they're talking about how they're going to prepare, and then everything stops, and you just hear wind coming down, and it's just like, oh, fuck, well, there's wind, and they just walk out, the whole world's being destroyed by Thanos' spaceship, and it's just like, oh shit, and it just happens, like, they stop wasting time, they're like, the movie's gonna happen now, whether you're prepared for it or not. And by then I was just like, all right, I'm into this. I was not expecting it to just start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for the most part, the movie moves fast. Like
yes,
everything feels like they can't just dilly dally around.
Well, I would say back like Sam Slade said, they have all these characters and like story arcs that are going on, and I think the thing that really helps weave it all together and holds your attention for 2 hours is they know how to keep your attention. Like this movie. It knows when to end a scene, and when you would like right when I was thinking, oh, I'm bored of this storyline, like I want to move on.
Yeah,
like,
each
I want
storyline's
to
a little different. You know, like
yeah.
It's a little different that you can like be like, oh, Thor's doing this thing. I want to see how this ends.
It's not like you spend 2 hours with Finn and Jake or whatever, and then it cuts back to Poe Dameron on the spaceship, and you're like, I don't care about any of this.
Yeah, that Asian chick named Jake, she sucked. It was like 45 minutes.
I am so sleepy that when you said Finn and Jake, I was like, there's no one in this movie called Finn or Jake, you fucking idiot.
Brian, please.
He's making fun of Star Wars The Last Jedi, everyone.
Yeah, Brian, I think everyone knew that except you.
Yeah.
What movie did we see today? Annihilation. That movie sucked. Like, alright, Alec, what did you think of Annihilation?
Annihilation can suck my ass.
Fuck that movie.
That movie
What about those
sucks.
two people?
This movie's really funny.
Yeah, it has a great sense of humor.
Spider-Man's super funny.
It's funnier than Avengers. It's funnier than Age of Ultron. It's definitely funnier than...
Well,
funnier than Guardians
It's funnier than
too.
Civil War. Civil War was not funny at all.
normally I would be bored of the Marvel formula, but I feel like this movie handled the Marvel formula particularly well. Like there's nothing really different in this movie than Age of Ultron or even Avengers necessarily. Like the structures are relative, like as far as like how they handle characters and like how they write their scenes, it's pretty much the same, but they do it better.
In terms of specifically the humor, they do something that Guardians 2 in all of our opinion, completely fell flat on was like every single scene was punctuated with a joke, even the dramatic ones. Like even the most dramatic scenes in the movie were punctuated with humor. This movie does not do that.
Oh no!
If there's a dramatic scene, it stays dramatic the entire time. Like they will not just throw a random joke in there. And
every once in a while they do that, but
it's not at the end. Like the dramatic thing happens, and they don't immediately, like in the same scene, they don't just throw a random.
The only time I can
in.
think of that is when Drax was like, "You didn't notice me because I'm so still." After a dramatic scene, she's like, "You have to kill me,"
which is funny because it was the Guardians of the Galaxy. That scene happened.
I think that they got the problem.
Yeah, but for the most part, they avoid that.
There's a joke that at first I thought was a joke making fun of Civil War, but then it ended up just being what they were doing, and it was the title sequences, or like not the title cards that showing the location where the characters are.
Space.
Yeah, because in Civil War, infamously, it had the giant stupid titles telling you where they were. And so when it did space, I was like, oh, they're doing a little bit where it's like, oh, fucking space. You know it's space, idiot. But then they keep doing it, so I can't really credit that as a joke. But I thought
it was funny when they said space, but I don't think they meant to be funny any other time.
Yeah.
One thing this movie did that, without getting into spoilers specifically, but there's a lot of love in this movie, like characters like talking about love and how characters handle love differently, like what they're willing to do for the people they love, like. Star-Lord does something different than other characters do, and other characters react to love differently. But like, love is definitely like challenged multiple times.
Thanos,
yeah,
which was interesting.
Well,
and the weird thing is like it handles it in a very dark way. Like every character who is in love in this movie is challenged with their love, like what they're willing to do for it, and it gets really dark really fast.
It's almost crazy that that an Avengers movie has a theme.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest themes in the movie. Is like what you're willing to go.
And it's the theme is set up in Iron Man's first scene when he's literally torn away from his fiancée to go and save the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie had 2 scenes where I actually found myself emotionally like my heartstrings were being pulled out, and that's never happened in a Marvel movie.
Not in a Marvel movie.
Not even the ones I like. Like I've never felt like any emotion towards anything.
It felt right. Like that's the kind of feeling you should have in a movie that's so
big,
final. You know, where it's like these are all these characters. This is where it's all leading up. It's like Thor's at this point.
Yeah.
You know, like
that was
Peter
another
Quill's at this point.
That was another cool thing that I like that makes it the best Avengers movie. Objectively, it's the best Avengers movie.
Oh, I would say so.
Is like the whole point of the Avengers, and even Civil War. I count Civil War to be an Avengers movie.
Yes,
because it is.
Right, this movie beats the crap out of it.
Yeah, it is the best. It is the best Avengers movie because the whole point of these Avengers movies, like the whole point of these Marvel movies, is to lead up to these Avengers movies, where it's like it all leads up to this, like it's all leading up to this one thing, and it's just like kind of celebrating that. And this movie feels like a big story. Like it feels like these like heroes, like these superhuman people coming together to stop. It feels like the world's coming to an end. Unlike the other ones where they just kind of say it is.
It's like a big deal, but it doesn't feel complicated.
No.
I am honestly in shock that I'm a little just like taken back by the fact that I liked the movie because it has no right like it's. So juggling,
not only that, not only that we liked it, but like that had good scenes. Like I could point out and be like, "This is a good."
Juggling
scene.
that many the storylines and characters is like I have so much confidence in myself. I love myself, Brian. I think I'm great. I don't think I'd be able to do that. Like that takes a lot of talent.
It's a thing that the other Avengers movies again,
all fail
at. Were in making the key character. I'm not talking about fucking Falcon or Bucky. I'm talking about like the key characters, like making them feel like they have a big part. Like in the first Avengers movie, Thor does not feel important. In Age of Ultron, fucking Captain America doesn't feel important at all. What is Captain America?
Even in that movie?
Exactly, Captain America like completely falls by the wayside. And
like even the characters that aren't in it much feel important.
Yeah, but exactly.
Like Black Widow is in like 2 scenes.
And even like the girl that I fucking hate, the feeling
Mantis?
Yeah.
You don't like Mantis?
Fuck her.
It's a sweet dude.
But I was gonna say like even her who I didn't like at all in Guardians 2, like she had stuff to do in this movie and I liked her role in it. Like I liked how they used her and they were using her weird ass powers to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Russo brothers just know how to do that well, and they also know how to do action really well with a bunch of characters. Because Civil War, like the only thing going for it was those action sequences that just were like these big, everyone's being able to do something at the same time, and like Winter Soldier is just really good action also. Like I think they've got that whole thing down. Like unlike Black Panther where it just looks terrible, like there's nothing there. Like it's just hit, that's it. But like in this, it's like, oh, they're trying to do this. I know what these characters do.
Isn't it so weird that we just had a Marvel movie with a big like war scene at the end, and this one, and both in Wakanda, and this one takes a giant dump on Black Panther?
Yeah, they also,
Well, because like the enemies have like this personality almost, not personality, but like it's like, oh, they're not just this drone like the other Avengers movies.
They're like these scary like I was thinking about it. I was like, if I saw a movie and that would like the main characters were just running from one of those, it would be a scary movie. It was a scary little monster.
There's like little things that they do, like little moments that feel like it could be a whole action set piece, like Spider-Man just trying to help them while they're floating off into space, and it's like it's not that long of a sequence, but it's like have Spider-Man do this, like have Thor do this, like Thor's like doing crazy shit, like they're not
Thor's
just having
really
a fight.
cool.
All Thor stuff.
Thor doesn't have like hardly any action sequences at all, but his whole storyline's great.
Yeah.
Well, and I talked about this a little. I don't remember which Marvel movie it was, but I was complaining about how like Marvel's characters are becoming too powerful, and something I didn't know at the time was just how powerful Thanos would end up being and how he's just a god. But
they demonstrate that like immediately.
Oh yeah.
He
but then like Thor, once Thor gets his super axe, it's like, oh, he's still a god. Like he's still able to just throw it right into Thanos' chest, and it's like, you know,
that was another thing. Like Thanos felt really powerful, but at the same time, like I was looking at it, I was like, okay, but he can be killed like if someone stabs him. Like he's not like invincible. He's just really strong.
But going back to what Brian was saying about fight scenes, it goes back to something I was complaining a lot about Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman does not think out the logic of its fight scenes at all. It's like, you have these soldiers and you have these soldiers. You have to kind of think about, like, there's a group of them. How would they act? What would they do? What tactics?
Because they're not on screen doesn't mean they're not doing something.
And this movie, it's like, all right, you have all these like monsters that are gonna like they'll do anything. They're just attack. They'll just run and kill themselves even if it means getting to their target. So what do? They start running around. It's like, oh shit, we don't want them to run around. So they have to think it through.
It's a clever way to make them fight.
Yeah, it's shit like that just, you know, it's little things, but it makes the fight more interesting.
It's like they were making it nerd-proof, where it's like nerds would be like, Wakanda has a force field. I don't think any of those monsters would get it. It's like, okay, but this is why they had to open it. You know?
This movie had genuinely good performances. Like it wasn't just like, so Marvel always like, well, for the most part, like the good performances people talk about, it's good casting.
Yeah.
Like this character is performed well. Like they're doing well. When I say performances, I mean when the drama happens. Like it's a movie about people in funny costumes beating each other up, and you're in like I was the same as you, where there were moments where I was like, "Fuck,
yeah,
oh shit, I feel sad. Like I feel emotions. I'm not just like that. Star-Lord's so cool.
And
like,
even in those scenes,
awesome.
like I was expecting not to be emotionally like gripped with the scene, because I'm like, oh, I know where this is going. And then once it actually happens, I'm like, wow, that was pretty good. They did that pretty well. Like the Thanos, not to spoil anything, that Thanos scene that he's on his own.
The Thanos decision.
Yeah. It's a cool scene, you know.
Well, and he's and like character-wise, like he's been shown in other movies, but he as a character is introduced in this movie, and like I was getting choked up about like, fuck, that's weird. Like that's weird.
That's a weird, yeah.
That's
well, and like I don't even care about that character a whole lot. Like, you know, the one that in the decision. So the fact that I felt something by the end of that scene was really telling it how well it was written. One thing that I've never liked, that I didn't really like at all about Age of Ultron, didn't like at all about Civil War, and I don't like about this movie, so I've never liked the character of Vision. I think he's annoying. Every time he talks, I'm just like, shut up.
Stupid, and he doesn't make sense.
Because when you first in Age of Ultron, you're like, oh, he's the internet. He knows everything. He's like Dr. Manhattan, and then Civil War,
he forgets what paprika is.
And now he's just a regular person.
And then the first scene he's in, he's babbling like an idiot, and I'm like, what is going on? Who is this guy? He's Dr. Manhattan, dude. He's got
he should be Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
But instead, he's just a normal guy with a laser in his brain.
Well, he's got. I feel like every movie he's gotten just dumber, because this movie especially, he's just regular guy. With
even though in this movie they say he's evolving.
Yeah.
But he's
getting worse.
That was one of the biggest challenges going in, is everyone was asking the same question. How do you translate Thanos into a movie where Thanos is his whole character is he fucking is all powerful.
Yeah.
He's all powerful, and he just wants to destroy shit. And they made him, I think one of the things that completely... There was one moment where they were playing around with making it more and more interesting, but the one moment where I felt like they really made something like real, like an actual great villain, is when it takes his perspective and you're following his journey. Like, he's looking for this one Infinity Stone.
Oh, he's just as much of a main character as any of the other ones.
And that whole scene is from his perspective, and you see him as the protagonist, and he's given a choice that you understand, and it's all like, it is in that one moment, he is the hero, and you're following him, and it's like, that's awesome. And like, Black Panther tries to do that, and then, in our opinion, fails horribly.
When I was watching Thanos, it was genuine. Like, I felt like there's a genuineness to his character, where like every character, like in the MCU, like all those characters that want to take over the world or whatever, they want to destroy things. It's like every time it's like, I want to destroy this. It's like they're yelling, they're like passionate about this, but like you don't really get it. But like I don't think he ever raises his voice once in the movie. He just kind of he has what he wants. You understand what he wants.
It's just like Michael Keaton in Spider-Man, where it's like he's objectively a bad guy, but you know where he's coming from. And you just feel bad.
Everyone's just kind of thought about, the world would be better if I killed half the people on it.
Like, every time I make fun of one of these superhero movies, by just boiling it down, like Black Panther, I was like, it's about a guy in a kitty cat costume beating up another guy in a kitty cat costume. Like, Thanos, while being a purple space gorilla, it's not just a movie about superheroes beating up a purple space gorilla. Like, it's about something.
One of the things I really liked about his characters, in general, this is still true after me appreciating his character a little bit more. I don't like his character design very much.
No.
He doesn't look amazing.
He just looks like Josh Brolin, but with ghoul on him.
He looks like a purple Gears of War character from the third one.
But one thing I do appreciate in this movie is just how much bigger he is than every other character. Like, he's a monster.
He's huge, and like he says cool things sometimes. It's pretty nice.
Like, he also, like, one of the things I've always loved about Thor, even though he's usually in shitty movies and they don't use him very well, is that he loves combat. Like, every time you see him fighting people, he has a giant smile on his face, and it's his favorite.
So Nebula, right?
Yeah,
she is the worst character in the MCU.
You
by
have
far.
said that. Yeah. I don't know how you could say that when
this is
Bucky's in this.
When Ant-Man exists.
I have two stakes with her. Well, Ant-Man's the worst movie.
Ant-Man is also the worst character.
It's difficult, dude.
I haven't seen Ant-Man.
I haven't seen Ant-Man in a while, dude.
Nebula has never completely gone against her entire character, because what else is new?
He's not as annoying, though. At the same time.
He's more annoying because he gets 2 full movies. He has way more screen time, and he's annoying in all.
Anyways, I hate her. Is the point?
You do hate her.
So, a small thing. She didn't die in that one scene. She just got away. Like, I had an audible sigh when she killed the guy and like got away. I went, and Brian looked at me and I was like, God, I thought she would die. And
I thought the effect was really cool, like the tearing apart of her body.
That was cool.
Yeah.
But
you thought it was cool because you hate her and you're like, she's in pain.
She does another really stupid thing. So in that scene, are we going into spoilers at all? Should we just do spoilers? I'm just gonna spoil it.
Yeah.
So
they don't get another chance, dude. We're not making a second video.
They got Thanos on his heels, dude. Like, they got him all like tied up and stuff, blah blah blah, and the bug lady's like holding his head and like trying to make him go to sleep or whatever. And then he starts mumbling stuff about how he killed Gamora, and then Star-Lord's like Starman or whatever. He's like he's like, what are you talking about? And then Nebula's just like, oh, the woman you love is dead. And it's like, why did she say that? Whose side are you on? And then it just all falls apart after that because he starts hitting him and all that. It's like, why did she say that?
I think there's one character that they don't balance very well. They don't really know what to do. It's Doctor Strange, dude. Because Doctor Strange in Thor Ragnarok, like, he has reality warping powers. Like, he can make matter.
Well,
like, he has crazy awesome powers that are not restricted at all. Like, he can do whatever he wants. And in this movie, all he does is shoot laser beams and make a little energy sword.
Well, I would counterpoint, because I liked Doctor Strange's role in this movie.
I was going to say, I like him as a character a little bit more, but at the same time, I was like, can't he turn back time? Like,
well, no,
they don't use his powers.
I think they are using his power. I think the point of complete spoilers, but I think that what they're setting up is that he has planned everything, and the power he used was ensuring that the one reality that ended up becoming reality is the reality in which they eventually win.
And when he was looking in the future, like, well, the realities, he was like, the reality where we win
is the one where we all have to die.
The Infinity Stones.
Yeah. So I think
But I'm saying even before that, like in action sequences before he even looked at all that stuff, he wasn't using, like when he's fighting the two people in the streets, it's like, you can create matter. Like, you should be able to kill them. You should be able to just delete their lungs. Like, if you can create, an endless like, just think about that. Like, if you
that's my lung.
if you're able to like just create an endless picture of actual beer, like actual beer that can
Thor
get you
can get drunk off that beer.
What's to stop him from just being like, you don't have lungs anymore,
or filling his lungs with beer,
or just deleting his brain? Thor Ragnarok alone is what kind of breaks. Like in Doctor Strange, it's like, oh, he has the time warping thing, but he doesn't have a full grasp of all of the magic. In Thor Ragnarok, it's like, oh, he's a sorcerer, he knows everything. So his character is the only one who isn't kind of like handled masterfully, if you ask me.
I would say Hulk also is similar to that, where like he felt a little out of place. Like we were all saying how Mark Ruffalo sounded like he was drunk.
Yes.
For a lot of this
Oh
scene.
yeah. When I was saying performances were good, Mark Ruffalo's was not. He was trash.
I'd love to say he phoned it in, but unfortunately he was just wasted.
But he also they just did a random thing where it's like, oh, he
can't do the Hulk thing.
The whole movie, like, he didn't even come back.
Yeah.
You know. And I don't know if it's like they're alluding that Thanos like beat him so bad that he's like embarrassed, like the Hulk doesn't want to. That's what they're trying to play off, is like the Hulk won't come out because he's like, no, Thanos beat me up. But they don't really set that up. It's just like, oh, the Hulk can't.
All right.
Iron Man being the most interesting character in the entire MCU and being the best character and the best written character, because his character actually changes according to all the events that happen. They continue that even in this one in such a cool way, where it's just like he's just so fucking broken down. Like, like his sense of humor is so beyond. Like, he is old, like Iron Man 1 Iron Man in one scene, and that's the scene with Pepper. Everything after that, he's just this dark.
He's bitter. He's sarcastic.
He just wants it to all be over.
And you can tell that he's like genuinely afraid of what's going to happen. Yeah. Like he doesn't know if he can beat it, which you get through the performance.
And like in his earlier movies, his arrogance is kind of like this thing that's like, he thinks he's all great, but later on it's like, no, I am right, listen to me.
And in this, he's taking everything completely seriously. But final thoughts, this is just, in my opinion, like just objectively one of the best Marvel movies. Like, it just handles everything very well. Like, if you like Marvel movies, you're obviously gonna like this one because it's an actually good movie. But just outside, like, it makes a lot of the suffering kind of worth it, because it feels like a reward.
Yeah.
For it's nice. It's like it's not necessarily a climax yet, but it's like it's a cool, like, oh, okay, this is leading.
I want to see the next movie.
Yeah,
like I want to see the next movie.
It's good. The whole point of this movie was to be a reward for, it's even in the logo now, 10 years of all these movies, a decade.
Oh my God, Iron Man came out 10 years.
10 years of all this.
We were freaking in 8th grade, dude.
And it feels like a reward for 10 years. It does a lot of really interesting and daring things. It backpedals on some of the daring things that it did, kind of like in Thor Ragnarok. Like, it backpedals a little bit.
Why'd they give Thor an eyeball?
But it also, like, when it takes one step back and it takes several steps forward.
Yeah.
With the kind of risks that it's willing to take.
Sam Slade, final thoughts.
I thought it was pretty sweet. I was really, like, surprised, and I'm glad I was surprised. Like you said, it's like this nice payoff almost. Because in my head I was like, there's no way they can pay any of this off, because like I don't care about Thanos, because he's just an after credit scene over and over again, and then he shows up and he's a really good character, and just it's nice that this movie even exists.
So my closing thoughts.
What other things I want to talk about?
I'm not even gonna. So my closing thoughts are, as a setup for the next film, I am more concerned than anything, though.
I feel like it's gonna be like, I'm not like 100% sold, because I think that it's just gonna be like, and we turned everything back.
Well, no, the most obvious conclusion is that they're gonna just get the time rewind power, and they're gonna beat him, and then they're gonna be able to rewind everyone back to life. That's what's gonna happen, because Black Panther is having his next movie. So my biggest problem is that...
Did you hear all the audible moans in the audience when they're like,
no!
He's turned into powder!
So one of my biggest problems with the movie...
Such a depressing ending.
Yeah, it's depressing and it works, but
Like,
thinking
it's a nice
about
bummer.
it it's like, oh, by the end of the next movie, everything's gonna be fine.
Well, see, like the point I wanted to make about that was just like, yeah, I knew when all that was happening, when like all those characters were just like
Like, they're gonna
dissolving,
be back.
like they're gonna be back. But at the same time, there was a lot like the reactions of it, like not only just from the audience, but just from the characters in the movie, like how it's like, oh shoot, that person's
To
gone.
this character, this person's dead
And
forever.
since to that character and they believe it, it allows me to be more emotionally invested in the scene.
Yeah.
Like when Spider-Man starts dissolving, and he's like, Tony, you have to. Oh my
He starts
gosh.
begging for him to save him.
And it's super depressing. Even
Yeah,
though I
it's
know
awesome.
Spider-Man's coming back, it's just.
And then my
Still-
my
it's still
second
emotionally
complaint is that I feel like this movie kind of makes 90% of the Marvel movies completely irrelevant. At least like the build up towards it, because like the whole time I was watching, I was like, Thanos should have just started taking Infinity Stones for himself like 20 years ago. Like, why did he bother with all of his stupid henchmen? He should have just started taking them.
That's why I say that the worst after credit scene is the Age of Ultron one, where he just says, "Fine, I'll do it myself," and I'm like, why did you do that originally?
Like he's
Finally he's coming. Cool.
he's obviously so much better at it than everyone
Yeah,
else.
clearly. Like you said, Loki, the guy you killed like that in the first scene.
He just went,
Yeah, that guy will do it.
But
He'll
out-
take over the whole world.
Outside of that, I genuinely enjoyed the movie. It's the first Avengers, and including Civil War, film that I've actually walked out of the theater happy that I saw it. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's well made.
Go see it.
Yeah, it's a good. It's,
You already
I don't-
have.
I don't know what else to see. Yeah, you're gonna see it. My opinion doesn't matter. You probably didn't even watch this video. I probably titled it "The Movie Sucks," and you probably already commented that. You said that you're. An
Are you
idiot.
guys trolling?
Did you read that comment?
Oh yeah. It's like, no, we're not trolling. We don't like Black Panther. Like it just sucks. Okay, it's boring.
All right, thank you all.
remember
for
when Red
watching.
Skull was the Grim Reaper?
Oh man,
That was awesome.
That was.
They were bringing everybody back except for Ant-Man.
He has his own movie.
Yeah.